Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm your host, MegRuler31. And if you're looking for the early slate today, it starts at 12:10. Just pause the video, go to our channel. McKinley did that one, so that's up and ready for your viewing. I'm going to be covering the night slate. So it's another good reason to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, because you might have just watched McKinney's video and thought that's it for the day, but we're actually had the time to do both slates. So you'll get the notification and know to look for this video so you don't miss it or any of the other ones that we do. So it is a 7-game slate on FanDuel starting at 640. It includes the Phillies and the Braves game, and it's a 6-game slate on DK. So usually sometimes when I get up early in the morning and do these breakdowns and I get the pitchers and the stacks together, and then I'm just kind of racking my brain for another 20 minutes, a half an hour, trying to figure out what builds I'm going to give you. Today, they actually came pretty easily, so which I was pretty excited about. So hopefully that bodes well for the slate in general. So first game, like I said, is Atlanta and Philly. Could be some rain here, like 60% after 8 o'clock. I'll have to keep an eye on that. Wind blowing in 12 miles per hour. AJ Smith-Shaver is getting, I think it's his third start here, and Aaron Nola. Smith-Shaver, I think, in the cheap range on FanDuel, you can consider. I mean, he hasn't had a bad start, but the Phillies have been hit or miss at times. And then Aaron Nola on the other side, I think it's a tough matchup against the Braves, but they're still banged up. Like Riley just really hasn't been hitting. He's had an awful May into June. Murphy's been banged up, although DRNO hasn't been bad replacing him. And some of like Azuna's starting to wake up in Rosario. So I think there's much better options than Nola. He's kind of priced down a little bit. You get a little bit of a discount. He's not like priced up as like one of the top pitchers on the slate for FanDuel. But again, you have to take the weather consideration. Both stacks, I think, are just GPPs for me. Although I don't mind some one-offs here and there, and I'll get to that when we get to the build section. Okay, so starting where DK starts. The Yankees, or the Mariners, go to the Yankees. Luis Castillo and Johnny Brito gets called back up from the minors after getting set down for being terrible. So Castillo, Yankees have plenty of strikeouts here. He's been solid recently. I think he's a top pitcher on the slate out of all the pay-up ones. Winds blowing in 11 miles per hour, 70 degrees, no chance of rain, so that's good. Brito on the other side, not interested in. I think it's a hitting upgrade to the Mariners coming out to Yankee Stadium here. So definitely we'll be playing some Seattle bats, think more of a GPP. Yankees would just be a leverage stack on Castillo because I think he's probably going to be the highest owned SP1 on the slate tonight. Oakland Athletics and Cleveland Guardians, Paul Blackburn and Gavin Williams. Paul Blackburn, I think, is definitely in play here. Everybody was on chalk Cleveland last night. They struggled to put up runs. They put up 2 runs, and then they finally won the game, putting up a third one, but really disappointed everybody, ruined some of the stacks I had them sprinkled into. They are just not a good team, and that's all I'm really going to say with that. So Blackburn, I think, is definitely in play here. He's looked good in his first couple of starts. His price on FanDuel is amazing. So I will be playing me some Blackburn. Gavin Williams on the other side is getting called up. He's only 5'7". I think you lock him into your SP2 in cash. He's not on FanDuel. My guess is they'll probably add him at some point. It's like 6 a.m. here in the East Coast, but it'll probably by like 10 o'clock, you'll get the notification that he is there. You'll see the little red flag thing and think that you have a free entry, which there is a player free entry reward on FanDuel, so check that out. A free roll for rewards. But you'll probably get the notification he's got added to the playing pool. He is the top pitcher in Major League Baseball that hasn't made his Major League debut yet. It looked like he's got a pretty good fastball from what I read. And I think he'll definitely do well here at 5'7" against the A's, who have been doing better recently, but still, I think it's a good matchup for 5'7". I think he can definitely pay off his price tag, get some strikeouts, and go enough for him. He's fully stretched out, so it probably no problem for him going 5 or 6 innings if he is able to do well. They don't have a book on him. They haven't seen his stuff yet, and I think he'll definitely be one to consider, and I think he's going to do well. Bat wise, Oakland, I think he's probably going to be the highest owned SP2 on Slate, so Oakland makes a great leverage stack here. Ruiz is just a one-off, is great. The guy has like 37 stolen bases. I can't imagine like what he's going to end up with by the end of this year, because I don't even think we're like halfway through the season yet. I mean, we're talking like 80 stolen bases from this dude. If he doesn't get injured, that could just be incredible. And then the rest of the guys are good, cheap fill-ins too. Or if you want to do a leverage stack of them against this young pitcher, that's perfectly fine. Noda, Rooker, Brown, I'd probably stay towards the top of the lineup. Maybe Langer as a catcher, as a wraparound. I'm fine with that too. Guardians, again, leverage. I think Blackburn's going to have some ownership. They're just not that good. I think it's a stack thing. I'm not looking for like one-offs or anything. Maybe there's a case in some of my stacks at third base this week that I might just throw J.M. Ram out there as a one-off. He always has, 2 home run upside. So, but wind is blowing in Cleveland 9 miles per hour, so that helps pitching a little bit more also. Red Sox and Minnesota Twins, wind blowing in here again, 10 miles per hour, but it's going to be 90 degrees out there in the Midwest or upper Midwest. Whitlock against Gray. Whitlock, I think he's pitched really decent. 7K is a great price tag. So if an SP2, I'm definitely like him here. Or if you want to pay up for bats and SP1 on FanDuel, I'm fine with that. Also, the Twins have a high strikeout rate, not putting up a ton of runs recently. Sonny Gray on the other side has really struggled recently. He's I don't know if it's his pitch mix or like what's going on. He started out the season strong and then just has faded recently. The Red Sox have so many lefties that they could throw out against them. They put up a ton of runs last night, so they used up the bullpen a little bit there. So I just not on Sonny Gray at all. I mean, it's a smaller slate, so if you're mass multi entering, maybe a 5% share on him, maybe up to 10% share if he does round into form. But the Red Sox are patient; they don't really strike out, so it's just not a great matchup. Bat wise, Boston, I think one of my favorite stacks on the slate in the top range. So they'd rank 4th behind San Diego, the Angels, and Texas. They may even rival Texas because we'll get to that next game. So they might be 3rd. So I'll definitely have a Boston stack. To stick to the lefties here, but I have no problem throwing in like Turner or Duvall. They've been actually doing decent recently, being able to hit. So just the top 6, whatever ones you want there is where I'm probably going to focus for bats. And then Minnesota on the other side, they're cheap, and if you don't think Whitlock is good, I mean, they could have a 4.47 total, which I just think is, if you're betting, like I would bet the under on that. I bet they probably don't even put up like 3 runs here. Boston's got a good bullpen behind Whitlock. They've been okay. So, and Minnesota's been striking out and really not putting up a ton of runs. So I wouldn't be surprised if they only score like 4 runs there, and then you'd be able to, make your money on that bet. Next up, we have the Rangers and the White Sox. We have Perez and Kopeka. Perez has just been struggling recently. I know the White Sox have been doing much better. It's in Chicago. It is a hitter's park here. The wind's blowing across the field, maybe out to right field at 10 miles per hour. So, that definitely favors left-handed batters, but against lefty, you're probably not going to see many of them. But, if that wind changes at all and is blowing straight out or anything, then that definitely helps hitters. So Perez is a no. Kopeka, I think, is just by default my second favorite pay up at 9.4. Like, and not on Gray. Ohtani's got the Dodgers and has struggled pitching recently a little bit. So I'm not super confident there. So I think I'd rank him number 2, but there's definitely a gap between all the other guys and Castillo. Bat wise, Rangers, I think, definitely are a hot offense, even though they're pretty righty heavy against him. It's like definitely like Seager and Lowe and Heim, and then you probably could throw in like Semyon Young or Garcia to finish off your stack there. They do well. Ludley Traveris is a wraparound, like he's got some speed and hitting pretty well recently. So I'm okay taking like a 3-man stack for the Rangers and or like a full 5-man. And the White Sox are a great cheap fill-in. They have Benintendi leading off. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to put Ramillard up there. Like he's just been decent. He's only had like 4 starts recently, but he's been scoring deep, at least like 10 or 12 DK points, like at least getting like hits or stealing bases or stuff like that. So if he's leading off, that's absolutely like at 2-3, that's absolutely a gold mine for me there. But if it's Benintendi, I'll skip him. I'll probably still play Rema and do a wraparound, just go Rema, like Vaughn, Roberts, Jimenez, maybe Grandal as catcher. Jake Berger I like a lot also at third base at 3.8. He's got a lot of power against left-handed pitching. Next up, we have the Dodgers and Angels, Battle of LA. Grove and Ohtani. Not interested in Grove. He's getting roughed up a lot recently. Some of the projections I've seen on him are way too high in some of the sites. So I'm not. I hope people do chase him here, but Williams is definitely a much better play. I'm out on Grove as a fade here. Ohtani against the Dodgers, like the Dodgers have been in a slump in the last 4 games. You know, they lost the first game to San Francisco, tried to turn the lights out to try to win the game. There's a whole controversy. It was kind of funny. Balls coming in from the outfield, and all of a sudden the lights go out in the stadium, so the cutoff guy couldn't catch it, but it didn't affect anything. San Francisco won that game. They shellacked him next game, put up a football score. I think it was 14-0, and then they beat him like 8-something in the rubber match of that. And then LA, like Detmer actually had them shut down, but then they scored 2 runs finally to win the game 2-0. So I don't like the form for the Dodgers recently. That's why I think Ohtani could do well here, but it's always a tough matchup. Bat wise, LA Dodgers, even with Ohtani struggling recently, they've got some injuries in this lineup still. The bottom half isn't anything great. There's just the top half, and they're so expensive that I'm really not going to play them. They'd be probably my second GPP on DK since Philly or Atlanta, but I'd probably rather play like White Sox or Minnesota or like take a leverage stack over them. I'm just not super interested in the Dodgers here. And LA is my second favorite stack, even though you can't play Ohtani. Moniak, I hope, leads off here. The lefty has power against Grove. Velasquez, he's the same story as at shortstop as the second baseman I was talking about, Remillard at the White Sox. He bats last, but puts up points almost every single slate. Last night he had a walk and a stolen base. He had 10 DK points and only 2 at bats, and that's enough to pay off like a 2-3 price tag. Like he just puts up points at such a cheap price tag. So I love him in a wraparound. So have him, Moniak. You can't play Ohtani. Trout, Drury can hit righties as well as lefties. Dassis as the catcher, even Jared Walsh, if he moves up. Like there's so many different Angels. Love the stack here. Final game of the night is San Diego Padres and San Francisco Giants. Yu Darvish against probably Hedgley as an opener, and then Medea as a long reliever. Not touching that situation. Darvish, I like. Could be your SP1 if you don't want to pay up for any of the rest of the guys and want to get bats in. I think he's that solid against San Francisco. They could be down. Lamont Wade got injured, got pulled from last night's game, so there's another left-handed bat that might be out of it. I mean, they'll throw a bunch of other lefties at him, but I think he'll be fine. He faced them earlier in the season. He gave up 3 or 4 runs, but he had like 8 or 9 strikeouts and actually performed well. He scored like 18 or 19 DK points, so I think he's fine there. It's, you know, neither one of their parks is great hitters park, so you know, I'm not going to say it's a park downgrade because I know he pitches in a decent pitcher park, but I think San Francisco is not a great hitting park either. So, bat wise, San Diego top stack on the slate against this mess of a Giants opener, long reliever. Manaea has been garbage. And the bullpen's not great either. So just lock in your favorite five. San Diego Padres, filling with cheap guy, pitching, there's enough using Williams to definitely be able to get all the bats in that you want to. And we'll talk about that in the breakdown section. San Francisco didn't even make my board here. I think I would probably put them here and then move Cleveland down. So that's how I got it. So let's look at some builds and get you on your way for your day here. So I'm taking Castillo as my SP1. Probably can take Williams as my SP2, but you can pay up for other ones. And I'm going, like I said, I'm going to stack the Padres and I'm going to stack the White Sox here. So you can take the Padres catcher, whoever it is. If you Sanchez probably works. If you want to go Grandal, or if you want to punt it, that's fine too. So give me Vaughn, give me Remoulade, give me Machado. For some reason, Machado's not in there. I'm going Berger at third base. Shortstop, it's your choice who you want to go there. I think Anderson's still banged up and would be out of the lineup. So if you want to go with Xander Bogart, he might lead off here. So, but even if he's hitting the 4th spot, I'm fine with him there. And then Roberts, Tatis, you probably won't be able to get up to Soto if you play Xander here. So you might need to drop down to Berger over Machado to get him in there, but you should be able to get like Jimenez or an outfielder. If you want to drop from Castillo down to Darvish there, then that should give you enough to get Soto in as that final outfield spot. But you're going to have to break away from my core here just a little bit if you want to play Soto in the outfield, which last 2 games he's been doing pretty decent. I think he had a 2 home run game 2 games ago, and I think he put up at least 10 DK points last night. FanDuel, Darvish, Vaughn, give me Albies. He's been really hot recently. Doing really well as one-off from the Braves because there's really nobody else I like at second base. I don't think Raul Menard. I think he's third base on FanDuel, and I'd rather play Berger there and Machado and utility. Shortstop, again, if you want to move Tatis there, then you can get like another outfielder in there, or that's why I left it open, or you can play Xander. L-Rob's a priority, so Soto there, or if you want to try to get Soto and Jimenez in, then you move Tatis up to the shortstop position, and you can play all those outfielders there. And if it's too much salary, then drop down for ABs and just pick whatever second baseman works for you. Like if you're not playing Whitlock, Julian will probably lead off for Minnesota. He's usually pretty cheap there. He's got the splits advantage. I mean, there's tons of possibilities. For GPP, give me Darvish. SP2, I'm going to take Whitlock or Blackburn. There's about $1,100 difference between there. I'm probably going to go Blackburn, but if I need the salary, I'll go down to Whitlock. And then I'm going to take the Angels and Seattle. So you can go Riley or Thassis at catcher. At first base, Drury works there also, or you can go France. I'm going to pay up for a third baseman because in this build, I have a lot of money left. If you want to pay up, if you want to punt third base and then pay up and play like Suarez for Seattle, he hasn't been great recently, then you can pay up for SP2 and maybe get into like a co-patch or something there. So I mean that gives you a little bit of options, but I think you're going to end up on like Devers, or you can play Machado there, or J Rom. I think are the guys that are like way up there at third base that are in play. Like I said, Velasquez, love the guy as a wraparound there. Hope Maniac is in the outfield and leads off in clinic, and then you should be able to get Trout in there if you want to, or you could also get Julio Rodriguez in there. So it gives you a lot of flexibility on how you want to build that, but that's the core for that. And then FanDuel, Castillo, first base again. If you want France, Drury, you can play there. If you have another second baseman you like, I'm going for the Arcia for third base. Really like him there, or you can go Berger if you want to continue There's a lot of great options at third base. I landed at Arcia, Vasquez, Clinic, Moniak, Trout, and then whoever you want to finish off the stack with the Angels or with Seattle as your GPP. So really like those builds. Really feel good incorporating those teams. Don't forget another GPPs. You can throw in Texas or Boston as stacks too. I like them just as much. And maybe if you don't trust Williams as the pitcher, the A's also, but really not like in San Francisco, Cleveland, or the Yankees tonight. So that's what I got for you. If you have any questions, you put them in the chat below. Hit me up at Megro31 on Twitter. As I said, is start the video. Subscribe to our channel so you know these videos coming out, so you don't miss if we do a double day or something like that. If these videos are helping you, please share with your friends. It just helps us get out to so many other people, and maybe you found it because somebody shared it with you, or they hit the like button and it appeared on your feed, and then you've been able to enjoy our content. So please pay it forward and help others find us too. And if you want more information on FSi DFS, then we have really reasonable subscription packages. You can just go on into the details of the video, and how to sign up and subscribe is all there. So thanks for watching. Hope you have an amazing day today for Wednesday. Enjoy both slates. Remember, McKinley did the early video. I had the late one. So good luck in your contests, and I will see you next time.